Colorado High School Activities Association football is on B106 and B106.com. Tonight from Legion Field in Fort Morgan, it's a Metro East battle as the Fort Morgan Mustangs take on the Weld Central Rebels. Good evening, everyone. Along with Kevin Rohde, I'm Brian Nickel. Kevin, Mustangs are coming off a heartbreaking loss last week. Hopefully they can bounce back from this and take care of Weld Central away tonight, because they need this win if they have any chance for playoffs at all.
Absolutely. Weld Central Rebels coming up, classification into the 3A this year. Have had some mixed success. After last week's loss, about our only hope for playoffs is to beat them soundly and then have them turn around and beat a tough Elizabeth team. So let's get the first part of that done tonight, and let's win this ball game.
Yeah, it looks like Fort Morgan will be kicking off to Elizabeth to start off the game. The opening kickoff was brought to you by Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance. With 2 locations in Brush and Fort Morgan, Ingmeyer Phillips can help you with your home, car, health, or life insurance questions or needs.
Eric Kimball will team up for the Mustangs.
So Eric Kimball ready to kick off for Fort Morgan. Puts the foot into it and drives it nice and deep down to the 10, 15, 20, 25, out to the... Looks like they're going to mark it at about the 28-yard line. So it'll be first and 10 for Weld Central from the 28-yard line.
Yeah, the trademark train coming through town here at Legion Field. You sports fans can hear that in the background. Fort Morgan hoping to establish a good defensive front and keep Weld Central from running, because Weld Central's a power running team somewhat like Fort Morgan.
Okay, they've actually marked it at the 29, so it'll be first and 10, 29 at the 29. Pitch back to the left, and out over the right side, out over the left side is number 84, and he's taking it downfield for a first down for Weld Central. He is taking it out to the 42-yard line.
Nice run by Bowen. He's not one of their normal running backs, but he has run the ball for them.
Brandon Blackston is a junior, 6'1", 175 quarterback for the Rebels. Up to the line. They are in a real tight formation. First and 10 for the Rebels. Man in motion to the left. It's pitched to him, and it's on the ground. He picks it back up. But he is then dropped at about the 40-yard line. So that's going to be a loss of 2 back to the 40. So it'll be second and 12 for the Rebels.
They kind of run a single wing type offense where they have two wing backs and one deep back. The quarterback comes out of there and spins and can hand off, can pitch. Both wing backs kind of go in motion. It's kind of a difficult task for a defensive lineman. They have to really key on the guards blocking.
So second and 12 for the Rebels. Man in motion is pitched back to the left, and Bowen takes it out to about the 43-yard line. So that'll be a gain of 3. So that'll bring up third and 9 from the 43.
Continue on a little bit with the type of offense. They also run foot-to-foot splits, very tight splits so that the linemen can't stunt into gaps. I think Coach Chisholm talked about that in the pregame interview a little bit.
So call it third and 8 from the 44 for the Rebels. Mustangs decked out in their black uniforms tonight. Blackston takes the snap, pitches it back, and then it's a reverse back around to the left to Bowen, and he is going to be brought down short of the first down. He is going to be brought down at the 47-yard line, so that'll bring up 4th and 5 for the Rebels.
You know, their punter is, I think, ranked 22nd in the state for average length, so this would be a good opportunity to put Fort Morgan in the hole, but looks like maybe they're thinking it's 4-down territory.
So 4th and 5 from the 48 for the Rebels. Going for it on 4th down. Under center. In motion, and it's a pitch around the right end, and he is out to the 50, and it looks like it just depends on the spot, but it looks like to me he is going to be about a half a yard short of the first down. Looks like it will be, it's going to be, they're going to They're going to give it to Fort Morgan, so Fort Morgan has held on the first set of downs. So with 9:41 left in the first period, Fort Morgan has held the Rebels and will take over at the 48-yard line.
It was an interesting call, 4th down and 5 on your first series. I guess you get one first down, and then you have 3 plays, and you're still at 4th and 5. Why would you think that you have a good chance? And now you've given Fort Morgan the momentum and the ball at midfield.
So it's under center in their flex formation. Nate Alexander in motion around the right end, and he is to the 50, down to the 45. So he's got a gain of 6 yards. We're going to call it 7, down to 44-yard line. So that'll bring up 2nd and 3 for Fort Morgan.
Going to bring up 2nd down and 3.
That was a nice run. It's good to see that the Fort Morgan linemen are blocking and opening holes a little bit better than they did that last time.
So 2nd and 4 from the 44 for Fort Morgan. Cody Davis in motion around the left end. He was dropped back at the 46-yard line, so it'll be a loss of 2 back to the 46. That'll bring up 3rd and 5 for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, that play didn't work quite as well as the previous one. Like to see him try Bohm up the middle, although it looks like Weld Central's got number 62, another big kid, 6'2", 305, plugging up the middle for him.
So Fort Morgan in I formation. Cody Davis split wide, and Nate Alexander takes it down to the 40. He's outside, down to the 35, to the 30, 25, down to the 20. And he is taken out of bounds at about the 16-yard line. So that'll be a 1st and 10 Fort Morgan from the 16-yard line.
Excellent job of blocking there on the right side. There was one kid that he had to beat, and he broke through the arm tackle and ended up with a really nice run down, like you said, to the 16-yard line.
James Martin has the play. Still in the huddle. Now they break the huddle. Have one receiver right, one receiver left. I backfield. Martin's under center. Takes the snap, hands it off up the middle to Bohm, and he is down to the 10, to the 5, and he is down to the 3-yard line for Fort Morgan. So that is a 1st down for Fort Morgan to be 1st and goal from the 3.
Yep, that was a nice run. He kind of headed up to the right side and then broke it off to the left. Did a really nice job.
So 1st and goal, 8:03 and counting in the first period. Fort Morgan 3 yards away, 2.5 yards away from getting the ball in the end zone. 1st and goal from the 2. Martin's under center. Hands off to Nate Alexander over the right side. And he is in for a Fort Morgan touchdown. 7:45 left in the first period. Fort Morgan has gone ahead 6-0 over the Weld Central Rebels.
Tell you what, Fort Morgan fans, that is a good sign to see that the running game is back for Fort Morgan after its absence last week. Things are boding well for us. Maybe that's why Weld Central went for it on 4th down, because they realized once Fort Morgan gets the ball, they're not going to be able to stop them.
So Jacob Frick in for the extra point try. Snap back, ball down, kick up, and it looks true, and it is. That makes the score Fort Morgan 7, Weld Central nothing, with 7:45 left in the first period. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Welcome back to Legion Field in Fort Morgan with Kevin Rohde. I'm Brian Nickel. Fort Morgan has just gone ahead of Weld Central 7-0 on a 2-yard run by Nate Alexander. Eric Kimball has the ball on the tee, ready to kick it back to the Rebels. Has the go-ahead and puts the foot into a nice deep kick, and it is going to go into the end zone for a touchback. So it'll be Fort Morgan ball at the 20. 1st and 10, Weld Central from the 20. A message from a couple of our sponsors. Valley View Villa. Look to the team at Valley View for rehab, short-term or long-term care needs. Stop by 815 Fremont or call them today, 867-8261. Weld Central breaks the huddle back up to the line. And he hands off up the middle. And it's a strong run out to the 30-yard line, just past the 30, so it'll be enough for a first down.
Nice run on that play.
First and 10 for the Rebels from the 30 after a 10-yard run up the middle. So first and 10, Weld Central. Man in motion, takes it right up the middle, and he is going to be stuffed at the line of scrimmage for no gain. That'll bring up second and 10 from the 30 for the Rebels.
Once again,
there's no room in the middle on this Fort Morgan defense, especially with splits line to line or foot to foot. I don't know how you can run much of an inside offense.
That brings your defensive line closer, does it not? So it would plug up that.
Right. When I coached line, we always tried to go with about if we were running outside, we wanted 2-foot splits. If we were running inside, we wanted 3-foot splits. Not quite maybe that obvious, but definitely if we're going outside, we want to bring everybody in. If we're going inside, we want to spread them out.
Weld Central takes the ball, pitches it back to Bowen, back to the backfield, and he is running around the left end, and he has run out of bounds. And that will be a loss of 3 back to the 27-yard line. So that will bring up 3rd and 13 from the 27 for the Rebels.
Well, after that first 12-yard run for Weld Central, they haven't had much success on the ground. So far this drive, they had another 10-yard run, and then it's 0, -3, and now a little bit more.
Weld Central, one receiver left, one split way right, and it's going to be a pass, and it's going to be, almost intercepted off the hands of number 15 of Weld Central, then almost picked off by Fort Morgan, but it drops harmlessly to the ground. So it will be 4th and 13 from the 27-yard line. What
an opportunity for a defensive linebacker to catch that ball, and he might not have made it. The quarterback was back there, but he certainly would have had a good chance of going all the way for the touchdown.
So Weld Central will punt the ball this time, as it is 4th and 13 from the 27. Ulysses Hernandez and Nate Alexander deep, and the punt is blocked, and it's rolling out to about the 30, and it's going to be picked up at the 25, and then driven out of bounds by Michelle Franco. Picked the ball up and ran it back down to the 23-yard line. So that'll be a 1st and 10 Fort Morgan from the 23.
Everything seems to be going Fort Morgan's way here at the beginning, and Fort Morgan lucky to get away. There was a couple blocks in the back as everybody was running to get to the scrum and pick up that ball. And without any penalties, what great field position to be down at the 22, 23-yard line.
23-yard, yep. So 1st and 10, Fort Morgan. High formation, receiver split right and left. Hand off to Nate Alexander. We have a flag on the play that stops the action. So we have a dead ball, false start on Fort Morgan. So that'll bring up 1st and 15 for Fort Morgan from the 27-yard line.
Well, it looks like tonight the only thing that's going to stop Fort Morgan is themselves. Let's hope that they don't do that too often.
So 1st and 15 from the 27. Fort Morgan comes out with a receiver left, and their bunch formation receivers to the right of the line, and a single back. And Martin's back to pass, and he is being flushed out to the right, and he lets it go downfield, and it's going to be caught by Eric Kimball for a first down at the 6-yard line. What a nice pass by Martin to Eric Kimball to the 5.
That was a really nice pass. Fort Morgan having a little more confidence with that passing game after last week's success in the air.
So 1st and 5, 1st and goal from the 5-yard line for Fort Morgan. We'll see if they pound it up the middle with Jared Bohm, or if they want to go wide. They're in a full house tee. Nate Alexander is the deep back, and he is the one that receives the ball. No, it was kept by Martins, and I can't tell just where he's at. It looks like he's going to be just short of the goal line. So it'll be 2nd and goal from the 1.
He just kept working on that and finally made it in. Or down to the 1.
He had me fooled. I thought Nate Alexander had the ball.
Yeah.
I guess that's the purpose of the deceit. So 1st and goal. Martin is a keeper, and he is in. James Martin from 1 yard out scores a touchdown for Fort Morgan. That puts Fort Morgan up 13-0 with 5 minutes left in the first period.
You know, the Fort Morgan line having much more success this week than last week, and I'm sure that was as a result of some coaching and some encouragement during the week.
Yeah, you're correct, yeah. I had listened to the interview, and they said they'd gone back to the fundamentals this week to get their blocking and stuff situated. So Jacob Frick in for the extra point, and it is good. So that makes it 14-0 Fort Morgan with 5 minutes left in the first period. You're listening to the Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Back to Legion Field, Fort Morgan 14, Weld Central nothing. Eric Kimball ready to kick off to Weld Central after James Martins ran it in from 1 yard out. There is a nice kick down to the 5, out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, and brought down at about the 27-yard line. So that will be 1st and 10 for Weld Central from the 27, we'll call it the 20, yeah, they're going to put it on the 27. 1st and 10 from the 27 for Weld Central.
You know, Frick on that last kick gets the 2nd point of the game. He's 19th in points for kickers in 3A this year, which is above the middle because I think there's 46 teams.
So Weld Central pitches it back, and he is running out to across the 30, out to the 35-yard line. So that's a gain of 8. So it'll be 2nd and 2 from the 35 for Weld Central.
Yeah, they just have someone sitting, in each of the slot points or wing positions, and they just go in motion around and pitch to one of them. And
so Weld Central, tight formation, man in motion, and pitches it back to the left, and he is out to about the 30. He's out to the 40. Dragon tacklers out to the 40, so that'll be enough for the first down for Weld Central.
Well, let's hope for the Fort Morgan faithful that this is a typical Weld Central drive tonight, get 1 first down and then falter, and the Fort Morgan defense stiffens up and holds them to 3 and out at this point.
So Blackston up under center. Man in motion to the right, takes the snap and pitches it back to him. And he is hit about the 42 and then falls to the 44-yard line. So that'll be a gain of 4 for Weld Central. So it'll be 2nd and 6 from the 44.
Yeah, and Nabelsik's one of their leading rushers along with DeGroot, number 23.
Weld Central up to the line. Blackston under center. Man in motion is a handoff up the middle. And not for much gain. He still keeps fighting. They haven't blown the whistle yet. There it is. And he is out to the 47-yard line. So that's a gain of 3. So I bring up 3rd and 3 for Weld Central.
Good hard running by DeGroot on that one, the fullback.
3rd and about 3.
3rd and 3 from the 47 for Weld Central. Pitches it back to the left, and then back up the middle comes Bowen, and he is going to be short of the first down. He gets it to just not to the 50-yard line. So that'll bring up 4th and 1 for Weld Central.
Jose Zavala on the tackle.
Now, at this point, down 14-0 and having 4th and 1, I'd concur that you'd want to go for it on 4th down.
So Weld Central, on a drive that started from the 27, they have taken it out to the 50-yard line. It is 4th and 1 from the 50. Fort Morgan defensive line digging in. And I believe Fort Morgan jumped offside. Yes, they're going to call offsides on Fort Morgan. So that'll be a first down for Weld Central by penalty. So that'll bring up 1st and 10 for the Rebels from the 45-yard line.
That's kind of a play out of Fort Morgan's book. Martin, several times with the hard count, has been able to get opponents to jump off sides.
So 1st and 10 from the 45 for the Rebels. Blackston under center. He's looking to pass. He's dropped back, and it's going to be it'll be intercepted by Cody Davis at the 34-yard line. First tip, I believe it was tipped by Weld Central, and then Cody Davis picks it out of the air. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Mustangs from the 35-yard line.
Well, Central's passing game not getting off to a good start. 1 incompletion, 1 interception. You're right, I didn't catch who tipped that, but it was a good heads-up play by the defensive back, Cody Davis, for Fort Morgan to jump on that and get the ball for the Mustangs.
So 1st and 10 for Fort Morgan. Hand off to Nate Alexander over the left side, and he's out to the 40. And he has a gain out to the 42-yard line for Fort Morgan. So that was a gain of 7, so it'll be 2nd and 3 from the 47.
Alexander tonight running like he's on a mission.
2nd and 3 from the 42 for Fort Morgan. I formation, receiver split right and left. Martin's under center. Takes it, hands off up the middle to Jared Bohm, and he has got enough for a first down up to the 48-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 Fort Morgan from the 48.
Yeah, we got some kids that are playing tonight, and maybe next week their last games if they don't make the playoffs. And Coach Chisholm talked about how those kids want to go out strong. Martin's a senior, Bohm a senior, or I guess Bohm just a junior, but Alexander a senior.
Takes the snap, hands off up the middle, and Jared Bohm is dragging tacklers, and he drug tacklers for about 10 yards. Actually, it was about 12 yards. He picks up a first down at the Rebels' 40-yard line.
Yeah, sometimes on a cold, crisp night like this, no one really wants to hit low and get down on the ground, so they're trying to grab him and slow him down, and he just carried 2 defenders for about 8 yards, 10 yards on that. Really nice carry for Jared.
So we're down to the end of the first quarter. Fort Morgan 14, Weld Central nothing. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Welcome back to Legion Field in Fort Morgan, where the Fort Morgan Mustangs have put up 14 points on the visiting Weld Central Rebels. 14-0 at the start of the second period. Fort Morgan defense has pretty well shut down Weld Central and basically dominated that first period. So it's 1st and 10 from the 40 for Fort Morgan. In the I formation, receivers left and right, and a handoff to Nate Alexander up the middle, and he is running hard, and he gets down to the 36-yard line.
37-yard line.
So that will bring up 2nd and 6 from the 42.
Kind of that same fullback isolation play where Bohm goes up and blocks the linebacker or the defensive end, except that time they ran it inside the tackles and isolated that inside linebacker.
Mustangs in the I formation. Martin's under center, calling out the snap, looking to pass, looking downfield, and it is incomplete over the head of the intended receiver, Eric Kimball, about the 20. So that'll bring up 3rd and 6 from the 42.
Third down and 7.
And Fort Morgan trying to catch Weld Central playing the run, but got to give credit to those Weld Central defenders. Every receiver downfield was pretty well covered, and Martins had to throw the ball high and away on that one.
So 3rd and 6. They're calling it 3rd and 6 from the 36 for Fort Morgan. I formation, takes the ball, hands off to Nate Alexander over the right side, and he takes it down to the 31-yard line. So it'll bring up 4th and short, about 4th and a yard for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, it was a nice hard run by him. Fort Morgan should be able to pick up the 5 yard or the 1 yard for the first down on this play.
So 4th and 1 from the 31 for Fort Morgan. Receivers, one receiver left, one right in the I formation. Martins under center, and it's a keeper for him. And we'll see if it looks like they've stopped the clock. They're checking to see if he has made it. If they mark it just on the 30-yard pass, he should have the first down. So they're going to stop the clock and measure.
Going to have the Fort Morgan Volunteer Fire Department chain gang come out. Talking to one of them, Corey Caper, on the way in. I know he's helping tonight. On a cold night, you hope that they keep moving the ball. You don't want to stand around too long in one spot.
I did notice that Weld Central brought some heaters of their own on their sideline. I don't believe Fort Morgan has any heaters. And James Martins did pick up the first down, so it will be a 1st and 10 Fort Morgan from the 30-yard line.
A little closer than it looked like when they were first there, so I guess the referee was wise in pulling out the chains. The forward marker of the 10 yards was in the middle of the football, so it was only by 3-4 inches.
So with 10:29 and counting in the second period, Fort Morgan 14, Weld Central nothing. Fort Morgan on a march downfield, 1st and 10 from the 30. I formation, receivers left and right. Martins under center, and he's dropping back to pass, and it's a pass downfield, and it's off the hands of the intended receiver, Cody Davis, incomplete. It was there. It looked like it might have been deflected first by Weld Central.
I just thought Cody had to turn around for it, so I think it was maybe thrown a little bit short. But after his really miraculous catch last week where he had to turn around and one-handed at about his knee level, would have liked to have seen him catch that and fall backwards into the end zone for another Fort Morgan touchdown.
So 2nd and 10, Fort Morgan from the 30 in the I formation. Hernandez right, Cody Davis to the left. And it's pitched on the ground. Nate Alexander picks it up at the 35. And he is lucky. He just does get back. Might have picked up a yard. He gets down to the 29-yard line. So that'll bring up 3rd and 9 from the 29.
Alexander doing a good job chasing down that bouncing ball, but by the time it bounced up, he'd lost all his momentum to the sideline, had to cut it back inside. Took quite a shot just to get the 1 yard back.
So 3rd and 9 from the 29 for Fort Morgan. I formation. Cody Davis split wide right. Ulysses Hernandez left. Martins under center. Takes it. He's dropping back, looking downfield and looking for a screen, but it's not there. And it's going to be caught by Eric Kimball down to the 25. And he is finally drugged down at about the 22-yard line. So nice scramble by Martins and able to get the ball to Eric Kimball. So that'll bring up a very manageable 4th down. Be 4th and 3 for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, on that one, Davis was wide right. He just really didn't run much of a pattern, and I thought if he would have run a hard slant, he might have been open.
So 4th down. We'll see if Fort Morgan pick this up in a real tight formation. Cody Davis going left, and he is going to be brought down. Not yet. He is going to be brought down back at the 27-yard line. So Weld Central holds. So that'll bring up first and 10 for the Rebels at the, let's see what they're doing. The refs are talking. I don't know if they have a penalty. I don't see a flag anywhere. But they're talking to Fort Morgan about something here. Talking to James Martins. Face mask, I believe. The 5-yard face mask against Weld Central. So that should bring up fourth down again, I do believe.
Not sure why there'd be a 5-yard penalty from the spot. It should have been from the line of scrimmage, I would think. But, I think by game 10 or 9, these officials obviously know what they're doing a lot better than I do.
So it'll be fourth and, we're going to call it 4 from the 24 for the Mustangs. Full house backfield. Martin's under center. Takes the ball, hands off to Nate Alexander over the right side. But he is going to be stopped short again for no gain. So it'll be first and 10, Weld Central from the 23.
First real positive for Weld Central, 1.5 quarters.
So first and 10 for Weld Central from the 23. 7:55 left in the second period. Takes the snap. Gets a gain of 3 out to the 26-yard line. They'll bring up second and 7 from the 23. From the 26.
There's the quarterback keeper on that one. They're trying to meet up and confuse Fort Morgan, and all Fort Morgan's doing is pushing the line back into the backfield and tackling whoever has the ball.
So Weld Central, tight formation. Man in motion, pitches it back around to the left, and he takes it up the middle for a very short gain. Probably out to the 27. We're going to call it only a gain of 1 to the 20. No, they're going to mark it about the 28. So gain of 2, so that'll bring up a third and 5 for the Rebels.
6th carry for Bo, and he seems to be one of their favorite runners.
So Weld Central up to the line. Very tight formation. Man in motion round to the right is pitched to him. And then he runs basically back up the middle, maybe just off of right guard a little bit. And he'll take it out to the 30. So that brings up fourth and 2 from the 31.
Going to bring up a 4th and 2.
Yeah, Fife Medina on that carry, his first carry of the game. Seems like when I was doing some scouting that maybe he had thrown a few passes, so maybe it was setting up that halfback pass later on in the game.
So Weld Central going for it. See if they try to draw Fort Morgan offsides on a hard count, but it's 4th and 2 from the 31. And they are pitching. It's going to be a run out to the left. It was pitched backwards out to number 84, Cody Bowen, and he takes it out to the 49-yard line. Rebels 49, so that is a first and 10 for Weld Central from the 49.
Unfortunately, the right defensive tackle or end for Fort Morgan got sucked in by all the motion and all the running to the right, and they reversed it back around the left side outside of him, and no one was there.
So first and 10 Rebels from the 49. Have a single back and then wingmen on each side of each end of the line. And they start the man in motion. He is taking it up the middle, then over to the left somewhat, and takes it down to the 45 of Fort Morgan. That's a gain of 6. So I'll bring up second and 4 for the Rebels.
It makes you wonder what they're doing different than they did in the first part, but Fort Morgan's defensive line certainly having more difficulty making their reads.
So second and 4 from the 45. Pitch back to the Cody Bowen, and he is going to be, we'll call it a gain of 0.
Lost about a half yard. Richard,
so it'll still be 3rd and 4 from the just outside the 45-yard line.
Yeah, that time he was met in the backfield by like next to the line of scrimmage.
So 3rd and 5 from the 45. Tight formation. Bowen in motion. Handoff up the middle, and he is down to the 40. So that is enough for a first down for Weld Central. He takes it down to the 37, down to the 37-yard line. So that'll be a 1st and 10 from the 37 for the Rebels.
Only DeGroot's 4th carry of the night. He was their leading rusher. They must see that, or maybe they're just loosening things up, and now they're going to start pounding it inside.
So Blackston under center. Pitches it back to his back, and he is taking it down to the 31, down to the 31-yard line. That brings up 2nd and 5 from the 31 for the Bulls.
Every single play looks exactly the same. One of the two wingbacks kind of starts to go in motion, but there's no telling where the play's going to go.
So Blackston under center. Bowen in motion. He gets the pitch out to the left, and he's got the corner somewhat, but Fort Morgan closes rapidly. And he doesn't, he gets to the, we're going to call it a no gain, so it'll be 3rd and 5 from the 31. Looked open there for a minute out on the outside edge, but the Fort Morgan defense closed quickly and shut him down. So 3rd and 5 from the 31. Bowen in motion, handoff up the middle. And he is being pushed and dragging tacklers down to the 25-yard line. So that'll be 1st and 10 for the Rebels from the, call it the 24-yard line.
That's a Weld Central first down.
Yeah, just tough running by DeGroot on that one. He just kept his feet, and his line got behind him, and it reminded me of a rugby scrum, where it's pretty much two lines pushing each other. Someone needed to get down there and get a hold of his feet and trip him up.
So 1st and 10 from the 24 for the Rebels. Man in motion is pitched, then handed off back around to the right end. And he is going to be up. He was slipped through a tackle of Cody Davis. But he takes it down to the, looks like they're going to mark it about the 19-yard line. That'd be a gain of 5, so it'll be 2nd and 5 from the 19 for the Rebels.
The Weld Central coaching staff up in the booth, and the booth next to us were screaming at him to run faster. And I think he didn't see the same thing they saw, because he saw defenders coming up to slow him down.
So 2nd and 5, handoff up the middle. He initially hit at the 19, and he is still driving there, keep pushing. He's going to be down inside the 15. Looks like it's going to be a first down for the Rebels, so it'll be 1st and 10.
Ball is spotted at the 14-yard line. That's a Weld
from the 14 for Weld Central. We have 1:39 and counting in the first period.
A really nice drive by Weld Central to finish out the half and kind of climb back in this thing if they end up scoring.
So Weld Central, man in motion to the right, pitched back to the 15, and then he takes it down to about the 13-yard line. So it's only a gain of 1, so it'll be 2nd and 9.
Gained about a yard.
For Weld Central from about the 13-yard line.
No one's used any timeouts, so we know Weld Central has 3 timeouts left to get this ball in if they can.
So we're at a minute left in the first half. Weld Central, it was a fake pitch, and then the quarterback kept it, and then he was brought down for a loss back to the 14. So that'll bring up 3rd and 10 again from the 14-yard line.
On the tackle. It's going to be third down and 10.
We have a timeout by Weld Central. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Welcome back to Legion Field at Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan 14, Weld Central nothing, with 47.3 seconds left in the first half. Weld Central on a drive, taking it's 3rd and 10 from the 14. Pitch back to the pitch man, and then he takes it down to about the 11. So it's going to be a gain of 3. So that's going to bring up 4th and 7 from the 11.
Yeah, Bowen on his 10th run, first one for a gain in the last 3. Fort Morgan's defense seems to have stiffened here as they get closer into the red zone.
Weld Central has elected to take another timeout. So we'll have a message from a couple of our sponsors here. B&B Appliance at 502 Ensign in Fort Morgan can help you save water, energy, and the environment without sacrificing quality and performance. Change for the better with B&B Appliance. Platte Valley Hearing Center. You don't have to travel out of town to receive the best and most advanced hearing health care. Visit Platte Valley Hearing Center located at 409 East Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan. Ackley Building Center, your one-stop center for projects around your home, office, or yard, and they now carry appliances. Ackley Building Center located at 1402 Mill Street in Brush. So 4th and 8 from the 11-yard line for Weld Central. They have one receiver split wide left, and now Fort Morgan has called a timeout. So we will take one as well. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Welcome back to Legion Field in Fort Morgan. Along with Kevin Rohde, I'm Brian Nickel. 4th and 8 from the 11 for Weld Central with 25.6 seconds left in the first half. 14-0, Fort Morgan. Weld Central has one receiver left and right, and he is looking to pass, and he is throwing deep into the end zone, and it's going to be intercepted by Fort Morgan in the end zone for a touchback. Beautiful play. I believe it was Cody Davis. Cody Davis, yes, picked it off in the end zone with 19.8 seconds left in the first half. That stops Weld Central's drive. They had that ball. They started the drive with 7:55 left in the second period and ran it down to 19 seconds. So they took a lot of time off the clock and got nothing out of it. So that's the way Fort Morgan wanted to end this half. So 1st and 10 from the 20 for Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan takes a knee. So that'll end the first half. Fort Morgan 14, Weld Central nothing. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com.
Weld Central ready to kick off to Fort Morgan. Nate Alexander, they're going to squib kick it, and it is going to go out of bounds. So it will be Fort Morgan football from the 40. Let's see where they're going to mark it.
I think they have a choice of where it goes out of bounds or the 35-yard line.
Okay. So they'll probably take it where it went out because it went out about the 37-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 Fort Morgan from the 37.
You know, an onside kick at half is kind of a signal that the coaching staff of Weld Central realizes that they've got to get the ball a lot more.
So Morgan in the I formation. Hand off to Nate Alexander over the right side, and he's out to the 40, down to the 45. Oh, the ball is loose, but Cody Davis falls on it for Fort Morgan. He falls on it out at the 49, so that will be a first down for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, dangerous to have the ball out on that sort of play, but luckily Fort Morgan was a little more aware. The Weld Central players kind of standing around as Davis went and jumped on that.
It was rolling free there. Cody Davis hopped on it to keep possession for Fort Morgan. Hand off to Jared Boehm up the middle, and there is not going to be any place to run there. And they're trying to hold him up and trying to strip the ball from him. There's going to be a no gain, so it'll be 2nd and 10 for Fort Morgan from the 49.
Yeah, Bohm on that play came up. There's a little bit of a gap to the right, but he didn't see it, and he kept going on the path that the play called for, and he just ran into a pile.
So 2nd and 10 for Fort Morgan, I formation. Ulysses Hernandez split left, Cody Davis right, Martins under center. Handoff, it's kept by Martins out to the 50 and down to the 49-yard line of Weld Central. So that's a gain of about 3, so it's going to be 3rd and 7 for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, a little miscommunication in the backfield there. Alexander was his pitch man, and I don't know, I guess Martins just decided to take it up and didn't really look back at that option.
So 3rd and 8 from the 49 for Fort Morgan. Ulysses Hernandez split wide right with a bunch formation to the right. Martins, it's a keeper around the outside to the left, but he is going to be dropped for a loss back to the, they're going to mark it at about the 47, Fort Morgan's 47, so that's going to be a loss of about 5, so it's going to bring up 4th and 12 for Fort Morgan.
I wonder who will be punting for him tonight. Looks like they're not lining up in punt. Oh, they are.
Nate Alexander back to punt tonight. One man, nice snap back. Nice punt downfield. Lands at about the 25 and it rolling down to the 16-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 Weld Central from the 16.
Yeah, it was a really nice punt. We haven't seen Zletzig yet, and I haven't heard from anyone as to whether he's injured or whether Alexander's just beat him out at that punting. You know, he was still ranked in the state as being one of the leading punters, so it'll be interesting to hear that story.
So 1st and 10 for the Rebels from the 16-yard line. Man in motion to the right. Pitch back. It's a fumbled pitch, and he is going to be brought down for a loss. Back to the 10, it looks like they're going to mark it. So that's a loss of 6. So it'll bring up 2nd and 16 from the 10.
You know, they pitch the ball about half the time, and that's the first real miscue on that exchange that we've seen Weld Central have.
It's a high pitch, hit him about the shoulder, and never came up with it. Bounced up in his hands. And then Fort Morgan brought him down. So it'll be 2nd and 16 from the 10. It's a keeper, handoff up the middle to Cody Bowen. And he gets it out to the 14-yard line. So that's a gain of 4. So that'll bring up 3rd and 12 from the 14 for Weld Central.
Yeah, these Weld Central runners are running hard. They're all look like good sized kids, about 5'9", 175 is what DeGroot goes, and Bowen goes 6'2", 180.
So 3rd and 12 from the 14 for Weld Central. Man in motion round to the right. It's a handoff up the middle. And he gets it out to the 16-yard line for a gain of 2. So that gets it back up to about the original line of scrimmage. So that'll bring up 4th and 10 for Weld Central.
I would think in this situation we'd certainly see the punt team for the first time for Weld Central, but hard to tell.
I think they were going to try and fake it or do the punt from the regular formation last time, and then that kind of blew up in their face. But we'll see what. Their punter is back, Derek Medina, lining up at about the 5. Ulysses Hernandez and Nate Alexander out about midfield, ready to receive the punt. It's a nice spiral punt out to Ulysses Hernandez at the 50, down to the 45, down to the 40, 35-30, 25-20, 15, and out of bounds, but there are 2 flags on the play. So that will probably be coming back. We'll see what they're going to be calling.
Certainly could hear the coaches in the booth next door yelling, blocking the back, and I guess it was obvious for the officials out on the field as well. You know, it is kind of a risky play. He bobbled the ball, and then instead of falling on it, he went to pick it up right as the defender got to him and got by him, and it was a nice run. Not sure the block in the back helped him that much because he really didn't seem to have anyone close to him.
It was kind of behind the play at that time. So it'll be a 10-yard mark off from the spot of the foul. So that brings the ball back to the 43 of Fort Morgan. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Fort Morgan from the 43. So you get the ball set. Fort Morgan up to the line, ready for play. 6:52 left in the third period. Fort Morgan in the I formation. Hand off to Jared Boehm up the middle, and he gets it out to the 45-yard line. So that's going to be a gain of 2, and they're going to do a no huddle. They're going to try and speed this up a little bit from the 45. Martins looks downfield, and it's going to be intercepted at the 30, and returned about to the 31-yard line of Weld Central. So 6:23 left in the first period. Fort Morgan leading 14-0 on an interception by Weld Central that gives them the ball at the 32-yard line.
Yeah, he had the receiver there and just needed to throw it about 5 more yards to get it to his man. Give credit to the Weld Central kid. That was a nice play on the ball, but really the fault lies with Martins in his pass on that one.
So the Rebels handoff up the middle, and it is DeGroot that goes around the left end for about a gain of 1. So that's going to bring up 2nd and 9 for the Rebels from the 32-yard line.
Yeah, I think the Rebel running backs are a little frustrated that they're really not seeing a lot of daylight when they're getting that ball.
So 2nd and 9 for Weld Central. Man in motion to the right. It's a pitch back to him, and then he runs it out to the 37-yard line, but we have a flag. Throw it at about the 31, which would indicate probably holding. We will see if that's what it is, holding against Weld Central. So that will set them back 10 yards from the spot of the foul. And that looked like that occurred at the 31, so that should send them back to the 21-yard line. So that'll bring up 2nd down again, and we'll call it 2nd and 20 from the 21.
And that's a real hard play to come up with, to be successful with when your passing game has been 1 incomplete and 2 interceptions.
So Weld Central pitch around the right end, and he is taking it not for much gain. We're going to say he was out to the 22, so it's going to be a gain of 1. So it's going to be 3rd and 19 from the 22-yard line.
Yeah, it's Fife Medina's first carry record of the night.
So 3rd and 19 from the 22 for Weld Central in their tight formation. Man in motion around to the right. It's a fake, and it's a pass, and it's going to be caught out to the 32, and then he drags some Morgan defenders out to the 36-yard line. So that brings up 4th down for the Rebels. 4th and
Fourth down and 5.
4th and 5 from the 36.
That was a nice little play action pass play there.
So we'll see if Fort Morgan can stiffen up here and hold Weld Central on this down. 4th and 6 from the 37. It's a handoff or pitch out to the right side. And Bowen is going to be short, I believe. Let's see where they mark it.
Cody Bowen over the left.
Cody Bowen went over the right side, but I can't. They're going to.
Oh no,
looks like they're going to mark him just enough for a first down. So that's going to be first.
That official saw something different than I saw, because he looked like he had it, and someone came out of nowhere and knocked him back about a half yard short of the marker. He may have fought back forward and got there, but well, it's what it is, and we go on from there.
So 1st and 10 for the Rebels from the 42. It's a keeper up the middle. And Blackston gets just short of the 45, so we're going to call it the 44, so it's going to be a gain of 2. So it's going to be 2nd and 8 from the 44-yard line.
Fort Morgan really needed to hold them on that 2nd and 20, because now we're letting Weld Central have a little bit of momentum and get a little bit of confidence back.
So 2nd and 8 from the 44. Weld Central to the line. Pitch back to Bowen. He is not hit yet. He is now drugged down at the 44-yard line. So that will be enough for a first down for Weld Central. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 44.
Yeah, good, hard, solid running. Looks like the Fort Morgan defenders are maybe getting tired of being out there.
So 1st and 10 from the Mustang 44. Man in motion around to the right. And he is hit in the backfield, and he is dropped for about a 5-yard loss back to the 49-yard line.
Yeah, James Martin playing a little defense there. He knifed through on some sort of blitz and made the tackle right there at where he caught the pitch.
So 2nd and 15 from the 49 for Weld Central. Nice defensive play by James Martins. Weld Central up to the line. Man in motion around to the right. Pitch to that man. And he is taking it down to about the 45-yard line of Fort Morgan. So we're going to call it looks like they're going to place it on the 45. So that brings up 3rd and 10 from the 45.
Obviously, Weld Central not inclined to punt very much today, so certainly 2-down territory here.
So one receiver left, one right, one back, looking to pass, and he is going to be sacked. Nope, not brought down yet. He gets away, and now it's going to be thrown, and it's going to be incomplete down at the 28-yard line. But it looked like he was going down for the count, but he escaped and got the pass away. Incomplete, but it'll bring up 4th and 10 for Weld Central.
Yeah, that was an excellent play by Blackston on that play, because he was dead to rights, tackled, sacked for a loss, and through his personal effort was able to throw the ball downfield and almost gave his receiver a chance to get the first down.
So 4th and 10, one receiver right, one left. Single back formation. Blackston back, rolling out to his left, and it's going to be thrown, but it's going to be incomplete. So that brings up 1st and 10, Fort Morgan from the 45. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Welcome back to Legion Field. Fort Morgan 1st and 10 from their own 45. I formation. Takes the ball and hands off to Nate Alexander over the left side. And he is going to get out to the 49-yard line. So that'll be a gain of 4. So it'll be 2nd and 6, Fort Morgan from the 49-yard line.
And Alexander doesn't look like he's getting that much yardage because the offensive line is just moving the whole defensive front for Weld Central off the ball. Something we didn't see at all last week, so it's really good to see the offensive line opening up some holes for him tonight.
So Fort Morgan I formation. Receiver left and right. Martin's hands off to Bohm up the middle, and he is down to the 45 and dragging players down to the 41-yard line of Weld Central with 46 seconds left in the third period. Fort Morgan 14, Weld Central nothing. Fort Morgan on the move.
Yeah, it's good to see Bohm running hard up the middle, too. That's his third carry of over 10 yards for the day. Total of 5 carries on the night.
So 1st and 10 from the 41. Under 30 seconds to go in the third period. 14-0 Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan in a power formation. Nate Alexander over the left side. And he is only going to get about 2 down to the 39. So I'll bring up 2nd and 8 from the 39 for Fort Morgan. And that's going to bring us down. We have 5 seconds left in the third period. So at the end of the third period, Fort Morgan 14, Weld Central nothing going into the final period. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Welcome back to Legion Field in Fort Morgan with Kevin Rohde. I'm Brian Nickel. Fort Morgan 14, Weld Central nothing. Start of the fourth period. 2nd and 8 for Fort Morgan from the Rebel 39-yard line.
Fort Morgan cheerleaders riling up the crowd by throwing looks like T-shirts and footballs to them.
So Fort Morgan in a T formation, 3 backs in the backfield. It's a handoff to Nate Alexander over the right side, and he is down to inside the 35, down to about the 33-yard line. So that'll bring up 3rd and 2 from the 33.
Yeah, the field at halftime started to get kind of a frosty look to it, and now I don't know, the footing doesn't seem to be bothering anyone, but it's definitely looking like winter here in Fort Morgan.
So 3rd down, handoff to Alexander over the right side, and he should have enough for the first down. He looks like he's down to the 31. They're stopping the clock. So I'm trying to see where the referee is. They are going to measure for the first down. So that was 3rd and 1 from the 33.
This one's going to be close, Brian. And even if it's short, I think they're going to go. Oh,
first down, Fort Morgan at the 31. It's a nice tough run there for Nate Alexander. So 1st and 10 from the 31 for Fort Morgan. With 11:15 left in the game. Fort Morgan breaks the huddle up to the line in their power formation. Martin's looking over the defense. Under center. And he takes it, and it's a handoff to Jared Bohm over the left side. And Bohm is down to inside the 30, down to about the 27-yard line. So that should be a gain of about 4. So that'll be 2nd and 6 from the 27 for Fort Morgan.
At this point, the clock certainly in Fort Morgan's favor, and they can just use up another 4 or 5 yards of 4 or 5 minutes of the half on this drive. That'd be perfectly fine with the coaching staff.
So 2nd and 6, Martin's under center. Handoff to Nate Alexander over the right side. And it's a short gain. He gets it down to, we'll call it the 25-yard line. So it's going to be a gain of 2. So it's going to bring up 3rd and 4 from the 25. Pretty tough sledding tonight.
It is.
Against Weld Central. But 2 down territory, so if you can pick up part of it here and not make it quite so too difficult, but it's only 3rd and 4, so Fort Morgan under center. It's going to be a pass to Eric Kimball. Beautiful pass. It was a fake handoff up the middle, and then Eric Kimball broke off the line. And that's going to be a 1st and 10 at the 15 for Fort Morgan.
You know what that reminded me of is last week when Elizabeth kept pulling their corner over, just challenging us to pass. Weld Central on that play was in a 6-2 defense, which is a short yardage goal line type defense, and just daring Fort Morgan to pass, and that was the perfect call at the perfect time.
So 1st and 10 from the 15, Fort Morgan. Handoff to Nate Alexander, and he is going to be brought down for about a 1-yard loss back to the 16, so it'll be 2nd and 11 from the 16-yard line.
Nathan Quimby was the first one there for the Rebels.
Not much running room right at the moment.
Loss of 2, 2nd down and 12.
No, and certainly Weld Central, as I just mentioned on the last play, is keying in on the run, and their defensive linemen and linebackers are all looking at this as, we've got to stop them here because it's 3 touchdowns. They're not going to be able to catch up.
So Fort Morgan receivers left and right in their flex formation. Nate Alexander going right, and it's a handoff. It's a keeper by Davis around the left side, and he is going to go into the end zone for a touchdown, but it looks like it's going to be coming back. There's a flag at about the 17-yard line. They're going to call holding on Fort Morgan. So that wipe out the touchdown for Fort Morgan. So that'll bring up 2nd down again.
2nd in a really long distance, but that was kind of a nice tricky play that caught Weld Central unawares. Unfortunately, maybe the reason that he was able to go was that one of the linemen was holding.
So it's going to be 2nd and 22 from the 27. From the 27. Fort Morgan in their flex formation. Martins takes it, looking downfield to pass, and he has got Chris Pineda for the 1st down at the 4-yard line. Beautiful pass from James Martins to Chris Pineda. So that makes it a 1st and goal, Fort Morgan from the 4-yard line.
What a beautiful pass. Pineda just cutting right through the gap between the 2 zone defenders, and Martins. Just last 2 weeks, what a great improvement on passing he's come up with.
Makes a nice wrinkle when the run stops producing and they can go to a pass. We'll see if we can pound it in here. 8:13 and counting left in the game. Fort Morgan handoff to Nate Alexander over the right side. He gets down to about the 2, so it'll be 2nd and goal from the 2 for Fort Morgan. Up 14-0 with 7:50 left in the ball game. So they come out in their I formation. Cody Davis split right. Ulysses Hernandez left. Nate Alexander the deep back. Martins, it's a keeper over the left side, and he is going to be just short of the goal line. So that'll bring up 3rd and 1 from the 1. So they have 2 downs here to punch this in. 7:20 and counting in the game. Coach Chisholm giving the play to James Martins, who then goes out to the huddle, and now they break the huddle. I formation. Cody Davis right, Ulysses Hernandez left. Martins under center. And he tries a keeper again. And it looks like they are still going to mark it short, so it's going to be 4th and 1. It's going to be 4th and goal from inside the 1, it looks like.
Certainly anyone who's scouted Fort Morgan this season knows that that's Fort Morgan's close down yardage play is the quarterback sneak, and they're going to put up people head up on that nose guard over that center and make them earn it.
So 4th and goal from inside the 1. I formation. Jared Bohm, fullback. Cody Davis as the tailback. takes the snap and gives it to Jared Bohm, I believe. It's a touchdown for Fort Morgan. Jared Bohm from 1 yard out. So that makes the score 20-0. Fort Morgan with 6:12 left in the contest.
That was just what the doctor ordered as far as using up all the time, waiting all the way to fourth down to score, and now to be up by 3 touchdowns.
So 20-0. Jacob Frick out for the point after attempt. 6:12 left in the game. Martins is the holder, takes the ball down, kick is up, and it is good. So Jacob Frick with the extra point makes it 21-0. Fort Morgan with 6:12 left in the contest. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Back at Legion Field, Fort Morgan 21, Weld Central nothing. Fort Morgan kicks off to Weld Central and is taken at the 10, and then runs it out to the 29, so it'll be 1st and 10 for the Rebels from their own 29-yard line.
Like to see Fort Morgan kind of drop into a prevent to make sure that they don't pass, but yet, force them to use up time on that clock.
So Weld Central, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, single back. Blackston looking to throw and lobbing it downfield, and it is incomplete out about the 50-yard line. So that will bring up 2nd and 10 from the 29 for Weld Central.
Yeah, Blackston 1 for 6 on the night with the 2 interceptions in the first half. I don't think Weld Central's passing game is quite where they want it to be.
So 2nd and 10
Second down and 10.
from the 29. Weld Central up to the line, back into their tight formation. Apparently they don't think the pass play is working right now, so they're going to put Bowen in motion around to the left, and he cuts it back up the middle, and he is out to the 34-yard line. So that'll be a gain of 5, so it'll be 3rd and 5 from the 34.
34.
Yeah, on the season coming into tonight, Blackston was 38 completions on 92 attempts for 41% percentage and 542 yards. So actually doing better than they have so far tonight. Maybe the cold weather's affected it.
So Weld Central, Bowen back in motion, pitch back to him to the left, and he has bumped it out to the left side, out to the 40, 45, and he gets it out to the 48-yard line, brought down by Ulysses Hernandez. So that'll be a 1st and 10 for the Rebels at the, and we're going to call it the 47-yard line. So the clock is running. We're at 5:10 and counting. So 1st and 10 at the 47 in their tight formation. Medina motion to the left, then he cuts it back up the middle, and he is going to make about a 5-yard gain. It's going to be 2nd and 5 from the Mustang 40, from the 47-yard line. And this is what we're wanting there, just keep running the clock, so that's helping Fort Morgan.
Absolutely.
So 2nd down from the 47 in their tight formation. Pitch back, and he has got it down to the 41-yard line of Fort Morgan. That is enough for a 1st down. And that was Tyler Nebelsick that took it down to the 41. So 1st and 10 from the 41 for Weld Central.
Yeah, you'd like to see Fort Morgan preserve the shutout, but if we give them a touchdown and they use up the rest of the clock, that'd be all right too.
So Nebelsick back in motion. It's a handoff back up the middle, and it was carried down to the 39.
Bowen on the misdirection.
Bowen takes it down to the 39, so that's a gain of 2. So it'll be 2nd and 8 from the 39 for the Rebels.
Fort Morgan rotating in defensive linemen. They just put 3 fresh linemen in on the middle there to to shore up that defense.
So 2nd and 8 from the 39. Bowen back in motion to the left. Pitch to him. He bumps it outside down to the 40. And he is going to be gang tackled. Hard man to bring down. But he gets maybe a gain of 1 to the 38. So it's going to be 3rd and 7 from the 38 for Weld Central.
As you mentioned, that was a really good effort by Bowen, bouncing off several tacklers and dragging a couple with him to get the yardage that he did, because Fort Morgan had that play diagnosed.
So Weld Central up to the line. Handoff up the middle. And taken down to about the 34-yard line. So that'll bring up 4th and 3 from the 34-yard line.
They must have read something that let them know that Fort Morgan was going to play the inside tough, because DeGroot has 40 more carries than any other runner for him coming in tonight, and he's only got 8 carries compared to Bowen's 16.
So Bowen in motion to the left, pitch back to him, and up the middle he goes down across the 30 and down to the 29. So that will be enough for a first down for Weld Central. So that'll be first and 10 Weld Central from the 29 with 2 minutes and 5 seconds and counting in the game. Fort Morgan up 21-0.
It's I think Weld Central has conceded the game, and they just want to get something positive going, maybe to build for next week's showdown with Elizabeth.
So in motion, then handed off and back around to the right, and Tyler Nebelsick takes it down to the 24-yard line. So that's a gain of about 5. Weld Central has called a timeout, so we will take one also. 21-0 Fort Morgan with 1:41 left in the contest. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. 2nd and 5 for the score for Weld Central. Pitch back to Bowen, and he takes it down to the 21. So that brings up 3rd and 2 from the 21. Weld Central in a hurry up, 1:20 and counting. Bowen back in motion, and he kicks it outside, and he is going to be down just inside the 20, but not enough for a first down. So that'll bring up 4th and 1 for Weld Central, and they have called another timeout with 1:07 left. Great sponsors, Central Auto Parts. For the best prices and special offers on top quality car parts and accessories, visit Central Auto Parts at 1001 West Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan. Premier Farm Credit, committed to serving those in production ag. Premier Farm Credit, the gold standard in ag lending. Northern Colorado Title, you don't have to close on your house alone. Northern Colorado Title at 130 West Kiowa in Fort Morgan will provide you with a stress-free closing. So 4th and short in its pitch, and then a handoff back around the right side, and he is going to be dropped, and I believe he fumbled the ball, and it was going to be short. Cody Davis with the stop, so that'll bring up a first down for Fort Morgan from the 23-yard line with 1:01 left in the game. Fort Morgan looks like they will preserve the shutout and go 3-1 in league play.
Well, Central with only 1 timeout, so Fort Morgan should be able to kneel and finish the game.
So Fort Morgan in the I formation. Handoff up the middle. Bohm gets out to about the 26. So that'll be a gain of 2. Then we'll give it a gain of 3, so it'll be 2nd and 7 from the 27-yard line. So 40 seconds and counting, so Fort Morgan should be able to run. What is the play clock in high school? 25 seconds?
I think 25 seconds.
So they should only have to run one more play. We're now at 28 seconds. 25 seconds. So this should be the last play of the game. So Cody Davis hands off, or James Martins, hands off up the middle. And Weld Central is going to stop the clock with 12.9 seconds left. 21-0 Fort Morgan. It will be third and, let's see, they marked it at the 29, so it's going to be 3rd and 4 from the 29 for Fort Morgan. Well, apparently Weld Central has a play to get the ball back and score 21 points in 12.9 seconds with no timeouts.
Well, maybe it's just an opportunity to tell the kids, play smart, not get a penalty on this last play. That we're not going to quit. We're going to use all our resources, even though it's beyond our control. But I'm with you. I don't see how it benefits their team at all at this point to have to run one more.
Get that one extra chance of somebody getting hurt.
Absolutely.
So we'll see if Fort Morgan has a receiver left. Looks like I would think they would kneel on the ball, and they do. James Martin kneels on the ball. So with 10 seconds left, Fort Morgan is going to win this game 21-0 over Weld Central. So a nice win for the Fort Morgan Mustangs. So at the end of the game, Fort Morgan 21, Weld Central nothing. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Welcome back to Legion Field in Fort Morgan with Kevin Rohde. I'm Brian Nickel. The Fort Morgan Mustangs have defeated the Weld Central Rebels 21-0 on a second half that did not have much scoring. It was 14-0 at half. The only scoring came on a 1-yard run by Jared Bohm with 6:12 left in the fourth period. And then it was a 14-play drive. The rest of the second half was a defensive battle with Fort Morgan coming out on top. This is a game that Fort Morgan needed to win to try to keep their playoff hopes alive, and still have to get some help from some other teams in different leagues to try to get them into the playoffs. They still have a game next week that they need to take care of, and then we'll see what happens from there. But we'll be back in a couple of minutes, and Kevin will have some individual stats for us. You've been listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com. Welcome back to Legion Field, where the Fort Morgan Mustangs have defeated the Weld Central Rebels 21-0 on a somewhat frigid night, mid-30s, probably low 30s, maybe into the upper 20s by now. No wind, so it was a football weather, as they call it. Kevin has some final individual stats from the game.
Yes, once again, unofficial statistics from your radio. Martins ends the game with 4 completions on 7 attempts for 64 yards, has the 1 interception. One of those goes to Pineda in the second half, and Kemble for 23 yards. And Kemble has 3 catches for 41 yards, 2 of those in the first half, for a total of 64 yards of passing. On the ground, Martins carries it 7 times for 5 yards. Not a highly productive night for him, but he got some of the sneaks in when we needed it to get a first down. Alexander ran 16 times for 77 yards, just slightly under 5 yards per carry. Bohm 9 for 54, which is a 6-yard average. And Davis 1 for a -2. Davis really not much part of the game. He had the 1 dropped catch that probably would have scored a touchdown, but as you said, was tipped. Anyway, Fort Morgan ends the night with 33 attempts for 134 yards on the ground, a total of 198 yards. We were talking off the air. Fort Morgan only runs 40 plays. Weld Central ends up running 51 plays. Their final statistics, Blackston ends the night with 1 completion on 6 attempts for 16 yards. with the 2 interceptions. His 1 reception goes to Nebelsic for 16 yards. Running, Blackston, 2 attempts for 2 yards. Certainly not much of the offense today. DeGroot, 8 attempts for 29 yards. Nebelsic, 12 runs for 33 yards. Bowen, their go-to guy tonight, 19 runs for 92 yards. And Fife Medina, 4 attempts for 5 yards. They end the night with 45 attempts of running for 171 yards. Just a little bit under 4 yards per carry. Again, their total offense is 187 yards. So I guess from the statistical point of view, the 2 teams were somewhat equal. Yard per carry or yard per down, Fort Morgan definitely had the lead there. And they were able to gain the yards and score when they needed. And the defense once in a while bent and gave Weld Central a chance to get down the field. But then Fort Morgan stiffened the defense and stopped them one time with an interception in the red zone, and another time on 4th and 2, I think they ran to the outside, and Fort Morgan actually dropped them for a 2-yard loss.
It was a defensive battle, that's for sure. Like you said, according to the score, you'd have thought Fort Morgan would have had the domination on plays and yardage and such, but it was a fairly close game in that respect. But Fort Morgan found the end zone 3 times for a nice 21-0 win. Let's take a short break, and then we'll be back to wrap up the post-game show. Fort Morgan 21, Weld Central 0. You've been listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs football on B106 and B106.com.